I've been a part of the, what I like to call the UU poker group. And every time I tell friends or acquaintances that, I get a chuckle or a laugh. But when I look in their eyes, I think I know what they're thinking. I knew those UUs were flaky. I've been going for quite a few years now, actually. As a matter of fact, I've been going so long, I buried a couple of the members. That's what we say as ministers, we buried them. Yeah, well, pardon?
Does that mean you're winning?
No, it could mean winning, I don't know. But Richard Hoyt died. He was a member of our church here and a nice participant in the poker game. And also Don died. After I did Don's service, the next time we met, we meet monthly, I said to the group, none of you better die. I am not doing any of your services. I'm tired of this dying. Ironically, the next fall, last fall, I thought I was dying. Of course, that's one service I wouldn't have to do. Yeah, I got melanoma, stage 4, spread in my body. And luckily, I've got a new medicine then that has put it in remission. So I'm doing pretty good right now. Yeah. Life is a risky business. And there are a couple of great things about poker in this poker game that we have monthly. And it isn't the money. We put in $5 and we get a whole bunch of chips, and that's about as much as you can lose on a Wednesday night. But you could add one good thing about it, and that is it's a wonderful fellowship. I don't think I laugh as much all month long as much as I laugh at the poker game. And it's good fellowship, it's good relationships. It's a good time. But maybe as important or more important, it is a time to learn about risk-taking. After all, poker is all about risk-taking. And no matter what Robert says, he always says, oh, go ahead and bet. You spend more at the coffee shop on a cup of coffee. That's true. But there's a chance to take each bet as a risk and learn about risk taking. And I'm going to kind of explain that a little bit. We play about 4 or 5 different games rotating through, depending who's dealing, and we pass the deal around. We play 7-card stud, 5-card stud, we play 5-card draw, we play Texas Hold'em, and we play low ball. But let me give you, some of you aren't too familiar with poker, I would assume. I could be wrong.
Correct.
Maybe there's some hot poker players in here. But let's take 7-card stud, for instance. Now, the dealer will deal out 2 cards face down to every player, and each player gets to see their cards, and then 1 card up. So the player looks around at what everybody has, that 1 card up, and looks at their 3 cards and has to decide, has to take a risk. Is this just not going to go anywhere, or should I bet? The one that has the highest card, the best card, gets to lead the betting. Somebody bets, everybody gets a chance to cover the bet, raise the bet, or fold. Nobody folds really after just 3 cards. It's a 7-card game. So the next card is faced up, and now everybody has 2 cards faced up, and I have 4 cards, 2 up against my chest and 2 down. And I'm thinking, boy, if I get 1 or 2 more good cards, this could be a great hand. So I have to choose to risk or and to cover, to raise, or to fold. And then another card comes, and so forth. Now when it gets to 4 cards down and 2 cards up, now each player looks around and sees if anybody's like celebrating.
No poker faces there.
Some people have really good poker faces, like Greg over here. Great poker face.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, not so much. By this time, Tom has folded. So the bet happens, and it's usually a bigger bet. And now the risky part is increased. And you have to say, well, I've got so much invested. Shall I go ahead and risk and invest more and lose more, or shall I just fold down and just not lose anymore? Just cut my losses. And then after the last card comes and it's face down, now I have 3 cards, and I'm looking down, and I didn't get the one I wanted, so I fold it. I lose all those chips. But the betting gets a little hotter, and then the time of reckoning comes, and the hands are exposed. We find out who's the winner and who are the rest of the losers. Now, you might remember that old song, Kenny Rogers. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. We don't have too many people running out, because there's a rule we have to keep our guns at the door when they come in. So anyway, that's risk. That's risk management. Risk management. And we all participate in risk management all through life. Let me give you an example from real life. And this has an example out of us older gentlemen. Let's say that a guy is having a hard time urinating. And he's heard about prostate problems, because now he's 77, and he's been ignoring it. And pretty soon, a good friend says, you've got to go to the doctor. So now, he antes in. That's another poker term. Before the cards are dealt, everybody throws in like a chip. And now you're invested before you see any cards. So that's what a guy might do. He says, okay, I'll go to the doctor and I'll invest a little bit. There's a little bit for the appointment, and the doctor cost, there's a little bit for the time, but most of all is a lot of investment in terms of breaking through the denial, and the anxiety starts to rise, and this guy goes to the doctor. Well, now the doctor examines him, and I won't explain the examination, and says to him, I think you need a biopsy. And now he has to decide whether the bet that is to risk going to the biopsy, that's going to be more money, it's going to be some uncomfortableness, and there's going to be a lot more anxiety about this future, because biopsies, tests are never really conclusive. There's always some guesswork there, and it's not the end of the game. There's more. If you go ahead and get the biopsy, then there's more steps, and there's more steps, and there's more steps. Or will this person decide, biopsy? Ooh, I think I'll just wait and fold. Mm-hmm. So he loses the little ante. I mean, he went to the doctor, and he's not any better or worse, and didn't lose much, but he does lose, maybe, because a lot of times when you wait, what happens? It can get worse, harder to treat, and that's a loss. So that is how it sort of plays out in real life. And that's only one little example. There are so many major decisions we have to make in life, and major risks. And I'm not talking about the little ones, like, oh, am I going to use that new recipe to make something for these guests that are coming tonight? Or should I use something I know how to cook? Or which club shall I use on the 16th hole par 3? There's all these little decisions, but there are a lot of major risks. Let me count the ways. There is marriage. There are kids. There's affairs. Shall I have an affair or not? Major risk. There also are risks having to do with finances. Shall I begin a business? Shall I invest in the stock market? Shall I buy a house? Shall I plan for retirement and how? These are risks that can have win or lose consequences. And then there are physical risks. There are climbing a ladder at home. You know how many people fall off ladders and end up in the hospital? Or there are sports, skiing, mountain biking. You know, pickleball, how many seniors end up with a doctor in the hospital batting a little ball around? Then there are alcohol and recreational drugs, risks. Then there's hospitals. You know, it's not safe going into a hospital.
It's not.
Taking a risk. I bet you could add a few things. What comes to your mind, major risks that you have to decide? Moving to a new location, or even buying a house. Oh my God, what a risk. Driving a car. Casey and I have totaled 3 cars.
Oh my God.
Not our fault, so don't worry if we're driving here. What other major risks? You know them. You have to deal with them. So,
Getting out of bed.
I miss that.
Getting out of bed in the morning.
Getting out of bed.
Choosing the right religion.
Choosing the right religion. What did you say?
Taking an astray.
Taking in astray.
Human or animal.
That's right.
We're people. We're human, yeah.
Well, you get the idea here. Risk management of poker gives you an idea of, if you pay attention in poker, you kind of learn, when to hold them and when to fold them. And it helps you be a little wiser and a little more clever throughout life, if you pay attention. But let's face it, there are experiences that come into our life where you don't have a choice to fold or to bet. There are things that we can't dodge. Maybe you're one of those folks that are averse to risk, and you want to play it safe. So you really did a pretty good job not doing the things that could be dangerous. It could be give you loss. There is a loss in that, though, isn't there? If you're too risk averse, how much you miss out, the beauty, the love, the richness of life. You got to risk to embrace life fully. So you have to think, how, if I can't dodge this thing, and I have to play the cards I'm dealt with here, how am I going to deal with the anxiety and the fear and nightmares? How am I going to deal with lack of joy, anxiety? I'm going to say there is a way, there is a key, and that's called faith. Faith. Now, Kenny Rogers didn't quite have it right that you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. I mean, he was thinking about life and cards, but there are times when you don't have that choice to fold. No, you don't. So that is especially when faith buoys you up. And I think of faith as trust.
Mhm.
What can we trust? What can we trust? What is it that is larger than we are? That is full of grace and mercy? That is full of creativity? That is with us, deep inside of us, and all around us, and throughout the universe? What is it from which we come to which we go? What is it that is with us no matter win or lose? Now, I call that God. It's an easy word to use, but God, I'm sure Unitarians, it's God as a shortcut for the mystery that buoys us up, that supports us in the night when nobody else is there. That's faith. Now, Jesus said that we better start using faith even if we just have a little. If we have a lot of doubts and a lot of wondering about religion and God, but we have a little faith, it's in there. Just use the faith you have, he said. If it's only the size of a mustard seed. And you'll be surprised, he says, the power in leaning on that, in trusting that. So I want to just encourage you this morning to think about where you are in life and what is feeling pretty risky. Either it's just getting out of bed, a friendly game of pickleball, or moving into a new house, selling a beloved old house, or that doctor appointment that you're needing to go to that you canceled twice. I want to encourage you to find that place of faith. What can you trust? Because we ignore it. Fear takes over. So here's what I would like us to do for a minute or two. Is I would like us to do a little meditation. Do you remember those old ads from Allstate Insurance? You
Good hands.
were safe in Allstate. And they use these big hands. I want you to not think about insurance, but I want you to think about this being an icon. Yes?
Should you mention that nobody goes home with money?
Oh, that's right. Unless anybody get the wrong impression. All the money that stays in a pot and goes. but it eventually goes to the food closet. So, yeah, that's a little nice bonus. So now, I want you to use this image of the hands, if you can still remember that, as an icon, as a physical image that stands for something, a mystery, something that can't be defined. And I want you now to close your eyes and put yourself in those hands. I want you to relax for a minute. And I want you to breathe easy, and I want you to just let the pew hold all your weight. And if you can picture those hands, or if you can sense that they're there, I want you to rest yourself in the healing hands of God. I want to ask you to rest yourself in the healing hands of God. However you think of God, I want you to trust resting in the healing hands of God that's there now and tomorrow and forever. Oh, great spirit and mystery of the universe, how can we possibly open ourselves up to you and not sing? You bring us joy, you bring us peace, you bring us love. Amen.
Amen.